Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Everybody, good afternoon. Mr. Reed, good afternoon. Good to see you
Good
all.
afternoon, Judge.
Thank you for making the adjustment in your schedules on today. I appreciate it. I really, really do.
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Scott, good to see you this afternoon. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Good.
Ms. Wilson, good afternoon to you, Ms. Brown. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge.
All
Good
right.
afternoon.
While we're waiting for individuals to chime into the courtroom, Ms. Drew, do you have the next court dates for the individuals that did face-to-face on this morning?
Yes, I do, Judge.
All right, I'm gonna do my docket and just let me
Okay.
know if I miss somebody, okay?
Okay, I
All
sure
right.
will.
First two matters I have is for Tatiana Chilcutt. I have, my case number is cut off. Is that a 2-0?
It's a 190. I'm gonna watch how I send them to. I'm sorry. It's a 190-444-6901.
Thank you, and
And
then go ahead.
her second case number is 190-453-1301.
Thank you. And what's Ms. Chilcutt's return to court date?
April 27th
All right,
at 8:30.
wonderful. The next matters I have is for Nicole Colbert. I have case numbers Z800891 and case number Z80662771. For Ms. Colbert,
Okay, Ms. Colbert, next court date is April 22nd at 9 a.m.
all right, thank you, April 22nd. Thank you, I appreciate that. I also have Mr. Colbert, Z8059841. Did we reschedule Mr. Colbert?
Yes, Mr. Colbert is scheduled for graduation on April 8th.
Wonderful. All right, I do see that someone has joined us on this
Okay.
morning. I'm not certain who it is. I can't really see them. Afternoon to you.
That's Mr. Richardson, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll have to just adjust the camera some for Mr. Richardson because I can't see him. I'm ready on Mr. Richardson's case. You're ready, Ms. Robs?
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. Ebony Robbs, Veterans Treatment Court Case Manager.
Before you start, 1 second. I didn't have the attorneys place their appearance on the record, so let me have you all do that now.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, Judge. For the record, C. Reed, Drug Court Defense Attorney, P 23863. Judge, I'd like to make a motion, a continuing motion, that my appearance be for all my clients this afternoon. Thank you. Can you hear me? Can you see me, Judge?
Hear you and see you, Mr. Reed. Thank you. Your motion is granted.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Robert Fikens, P 31894, Drug Treatment Court and Veterans Treatment Court Defense Attorney. I too would make a similar motion, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Fikens, and your motion is granted. And then I have Ms. Ross has already placed her appearance on the record. Mr. Scott, let me place your appearance on the record for me.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. Kevin Scott, Veterans Treatment Court Mentor.
All right, thank you, thank you. Okay, I have the following case numbers for Mr. Richardson. I have case numbers SP 106, 801, and case number 2005-723-501. Mr. Richardson, could you state your name for the record, please?
Desi, first of all, good morning. And my name is Desi.
Don't take me back to the morning.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize. I'm used to that 8:30 thing.
I know.
Yes, ma'am. Desi Richardson.
All right, good to see you, Mr. Richardson. Who do you have with you today?
Miss Hall.
Miss Hall, put your name on the record for me.
Rhonda Hall.
Right. I'm sorry, say that again.
Rhonda Hall, Clinical Case Manager, Volunteers of America.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Hall, for being with us this afternoon. All right. Mr. Richardson, what's going on with you today? Let me hear
Yes,
from
ma'am.
you.
I'm I'm thankful and blessed that I'm alive, first of all. Second of all, I'm thankful that I made it here in front of you and in front of my team. Uh, like like always, we all have a few issues, but I'm trying to sort through them.
Are
I've
you
been
being nice
working
to
doing
people while you sorting through your issues, Mr. Richardson?
a bit well. When I'm on uncharted ground. Certain things was not explained to me properly to my understanding. So as time go on, I have been getting understanding as I, shall we say, make mistakes. I'm learning from my mistakes
So you're gonna
and
answer
I'm
my question.
straightening them
Are you
out.
being nice to people or not?
Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to be as proper and within my etiquette as I can.
All right. Let me tell you why I asked that question, Mr. Richardson,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
it's so important. While everybody has their hands on deck to help you,
Yes, ma'am.
and your hands are on that deck too, it's
Yes,
so
ma'am.
important that we are kind and respectful to each other. And I know that sounds real simple, that we shouldn't even have to say that in 2021, but I think we have to say it more often now, given the state of the world that we live in today. But it's
Yes, ma'am.
very important that you are kind with respect to Miss Robs and Miss Hall and Mentor Scott and the attorneys and everybody else whose hands are on deck trying to help you. I understand that people get frustrated. I understand that even when we're receiving help from someone, I understand that we can get frustrated. But when you get frustrated and you're not kind to people, you might lessen the opportunity for that person to be kind to you or go that extra mile or go out of their way or stay up a little bit later, maybe
Yes, ma'am.
tap into an additional resource, things that they're not required to do. You
Yes,
might
ma'am.
lessen the chances of them doing that. I'm not stating that about Miss Robs, because Miss Robs goes all the way irrespective of how people treat her. But it's important to me that you treat her kind and that you're respectful to her and that you're
Yes, ma'am.
patient and that you listen and that you seek understanding. There's nothing wrong with that. But even when it's not information that you like, that you be kind and respectful, because that's what Ms. Robs is going to be to you. I'm certain of that. If she's not, you need to let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. So we have some things we need to sort through today.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
want to sort through those things. Okay? Can we
Indeed.
do that?
Yes, ma'am. By all means.
All right, let's do that. I'm going to start with Ms. Robs. Ms. Robs, tell us what we need to sort through. I'm glad to see you today, Ms. Robs.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm hanging in there. Your Honor, Mr. Richardson, I was able to talk with Mr. Parker, who's his mentor, who couldn't be on here this afternoon due to scheduling conflicts, and as well as Mr. Kashiri, who also couldn't be here due to scheduling conflict. They pointed out some things regarding Mr. Richardson based on the things that we staffed about yesterday regarding Mr. Richardson and what he just reported, Your Honor, his need for clarification. Um, we had made mention to this before, Your Honor, in regards to Mr. Richardson signing his contract. There's issues with that, Mr. Richardson not wanting to sign the contract.
Sign which contract, Ms. Robs?
Our Veterans Treatment Court contract, Your Honor.
Why wouldn't Mr. Richardson sign the Veterans Treatment contract?
Your Honor, this is the second time we've addressed this with Mr. Richardson. This court, Your Honor, went over the contract thoroughly with Mr. Richardson when he initially came into Veterans Treatment Court, as well as his attorney, Mr. Lamb, went over the contract with him, as well as Mr. Reed, Attorney Reed, went over the contract with him and explained thoroughly. So there's issues. Mr. Richardson keeps stating that he needs more clarification and that he doesn't understand why he needs to sign it, to my understanding, per the report of Mr. Parker. But I did explain that to Mr. Richardson in the past, that his signature is needed, but he also did make a verbal
if he won't sign it, Ms. Robs, it's okay. I'll just make it in order. There's nothing that precludes me from just making it in order. But you know, we have people coming to the program, and we want people to come to the program who want to work the program. And part of demonstrating wanting to work the program is signing and I hate that they call it a contract, because I don't need a contract to order someone to do what they need to do. And so, Mr. Richardson, what's the problem? Why won't you sign the contract?
Well, Your Honor, if you check the record, you will find out that when you asked Mr. Michael, Attorney Michaels, he said about the contract, me signing it, he said that he told you on record that he hadn't explained the contract to me, and that he would,
no, Mr.
And he would, yes, ma'am, he would explain the contract to me, get it signed, and he would submit it. And he never did get back with me, Your Honor, and I didn't know the circumstances of the contract. So in assumption of that, they just put me on in the program, and I've been abiding by everything that I am told to do. Now, there are some things, some fees and levies that was told to me.
Hold on, Mr. Richardson. Hold on, Mr. Richardson.
Yes,
Hold on, because you're being untruthful. I won't even say untruthful.
Well, if I misunderstood, Your Honor, I apologize.
Mr. Richardson, I said, hold on.
Yes,
you're being disingenuous. I'm going to use a better word to call it. You're being disingenuous. First of all,
yes,
I'm not going to accept someone into a program where it has not been explained to them the terms and conditions of what they are going to be doing. I go through those questions not only with the attorney, if they don't volunteer that information, but I also ask the individuals that are coming into the program. And so, Mr. Richardson, I know for certain that you were not bamboozled into this in no kind of way, and that I would not have accepted you into this program without you understanding that you would be coming into this program. These are the things that would be required of you. Whether you came into Veterans Treatment Court or not, I could still order you and do an order with all of the things and some, and you would have to abide by it or suffer the consequences for failing to abide by it. But you're being disingenuous to say that this court allowed you to come into a program and did not take the time or give an attorney the time to explain it to you. And so this is what I'm going to do. Mr. Reed, Mr. Vikings, who wants to go in a breakout room with Mr. Richardson, who is being very disingenuous today? And I struggle when people are disingenuous. I do, because I don't have a poker face. I like to pretend and be like I'm okay, because that's sweet, Mr. Richardson, who I still really like and respect. But you're being disingenuous today, sir, and that's not going well with me. So I want to put you in a breakout room, because I'm gonna give the attorneys an opportunity to explain to you the terms and conditions of the program thoroughly.
Yes, ma'am.
In addition, while you may have issues with fines and costs in this program, understand that fines and costs, when you walk into 36th District Court, when you are issued a ticket, fines and costs, that's a part of the information that was explained to you. You can be sentenced up to 90 days in the Wayne County Jail and assessed up to $500 in fines plus costs. And so while we work with you in specialty court with respect to those fines and costs, in no way do we just pardon or say you have zero debt or zero balance or what have you. And so any discussion about fines and costs, that was contained in your constitutional rights. And not to mention that in specialty court, you did not receive the maximum fines and costs that you could have received. And I'm struggling with you right now, Mr. Richardson. So I could stop my struggle. I'm gonna put you in a breakout room with anybody that wants to go in the breakout room with Mr. Richardson to explain.
I'll go in the breakout room with Mr.
Oh, yes, do that, Mr. Reed. Wonderful.
Mr. Richardson. And I just may want to add, Mr. Richardson may have joined the program with a retained attorney, and we rely upon retained attorneys to go over contracts. But I don't know. I'm not sure. The attorney that he's referring to, it's not Mr. Fikens and it's not me. It's someone else that he's talking about. I just wanted to make that clear. And I'll go into the breakout room with him, Judge. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Give me a second. Let me just change your name very quickly. right, I have sent you both invitations to breakout room number 2. Please join that room.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may, there's also Miss Weisler, who is also on the call. She is the clinical therapist at Volunteers of America for
Welcome.
Mr. Richardson.
All right, and when he comes back, Ms. Weisler, I think you said Weisler. Yes, when he comes back, I'll have you address the court about his progress, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you for your patience. All right, I see, Mr. Richardson, please accept the invitation to breakout room number, I believe it's 2. All right, and then there's someone who has joined us on an LG Stylo 6. I need you to start your camera, please, so that I can call your case if you are a defendant. All right. I don't see any other defendants on. Do you all see anyone else? Am I missing someone?
No, Your Honor, there's no one else I see.
Okay, I don't know who this Stylo 6 is.
Your Honor, I want to say it's Mr. Dennis Pringle, but I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll ask them to start their video. If you could start your video for me.
Yes.
They're not doing it. All right. Let me continue to call my docket, Ms. Drew, to make sure everything is covered today.
Okay.
071-02711, U558-76320, U558-76720, U558-83920, and case number 1905-793301 for Carol Gooden. What's going on with Carol Gooden?
Yes, the next, well, the face-to-face, next court date is April 20th
All right.
at 8:30 a.m.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, I have the following case number Z8060021 for Crystal Lane.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. Your Honor, I was unable to make contact with Miss Lane. She was aware that she had a court date on today. And I'm not sure why she showed. I attempted to reach out. I did attempt to reach out to her again, left her voicemail, and she did not show for court on today.
Okay, and so you haven't had any contact with Ms. Lane?
No, Your Honor.
All right, very good. And so, Ms. Drew, this is one of those matters that I talked with you about. Ms. Lane is actively participating in our drug treatment court program. So she's not an arraignment on the bench warrant or somebody coming to us for the very first time. And so I am to issue a case with respect to Ms. Lane, and Ms. Bob should prepare that for a remand to Judge Holmes.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, wonderful. All right, and then I have Nicole Miller, U304-36216, Nicole Miller.
Okay, Nicole Miller, next court date is April 20th at 8:30 a.m.
April 20th.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And then I have Catherine Mitchell, Z8058671. Mr. Griffin.
Ms. Mitchell, I did talk to her earlier today. She's doing well. Did a face-to-face with her, and her next scheduled court date is
April 27th.
April 27th.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. I have Dennis Pringle, 200-449-9701. Was that Mr. Pringle who was just on, Ms. Robs?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Pringle needs to move to a space where he can get some good reception. Okay, we'll give him an opportunity to do that. I'm going to keep moving while we're waiting for him to do that. I have Terrell Robinson, 200-617-5701.
Okay, Terrell Robinson, next court date is April 19th at 8:30 a.m.
Thank you. I have the following matters for John Sheehan, U401-44117, case number 1905681501. Mr. Griffin.
Yep, talked to Mr. Sheehan today. He's doing good. I explained to him about the other case that you're not touching it. So he's just gonna have to go through the process. So he understood that. So I got him to come back on the 27th to see you, Your Honor.
April 27th, I have it. Thank you, Mr. Griffin. I have Christy Zacher, U534455519.
Christy Zachary, next court date is April 9th at 8:30 a.m.
Wonderful. I have case number 0, is it 01? It's cut off a little, Ms. Drew. For
I'm sorry,
Deshaun.
okay, the case number is U122-98213.
Thank you, and that's for Deshaun Robinson, and that was an arraignment on the bench warrant. Did Mr. Robinson show up at all today?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Then Ms. Drew, because this individual is not a part of specialty court, then you are to follow the show cause process outlined in the memo that you received, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, wonderful, thank you. I have Z8060341 for Cornelius Crowell.
Okay. Mr. Corwell, next court date is April 27th at 8:30 a.m.
Thank you. I have case numbers SP 870358, counts 1 and 2, and case number Z80599911 for Chrysalyn Reed.
Okay. Ms. Reed, court date is April 27th at 8:30 a.m.
All right, wonderful. I have case number 191265545 for Bryce Williams.
I spoke with Mr. Williams today, Your Honor. He's doing well. Told him he's gonna make a payment. I told him he need to get that cost paid so he could get considered for the restricted license. So I gave him instructions on how to make a payment. So he said he would get that done. He's continued to finish the online arms class, and he said he had an appointment today with the CARES to complete the alcohol highway safety class, and he'll be coming back to see you on April the 27th, Your Honor.
All right, very good, very good. All right, and then the last case that I have is for Marcus Cleveland, case number 19C306210D. On Marcus Cleveland.
Okay. Marcus Cleveland, next court date is May 3rd at 8:30 a.m.
All right, very good. And then I had one other matter for Ralph Warkhurst, case number U4474631 and U448888318. I was not familiar with this case at all.
Okay, his next court date for Mr. Warhurst is April 20th at 8:30 a.m.
I remember him now. Mustache? Okay, no?
No, Your Honor, he is a new intake well, he's not a new intake. He was admitted into the program. I'm sorry, it's a bunch of feedback. He was admitted into the program, Your Honor, last week, and you wanted to see him weekly. He was not having any complications on today. He was sent the information to complete his needs assessment as well as receive the assessment from the VA, from veteran with Mr. Kashiri. So we should have those results upon his next court date, Your Honor. But overall, he's doing well.
Okay, all right, very good. And you did put him on for next week, is that correct?
I needed to get with Miss Drew and give the court date for the 13th, Your Honor.
Which is that next week?
That will be next week.
All right, so Ms. Drew, his return to court date would be April 13th, 2021 at 8:30 a.m.
Okay, thank you.
All right, very good. And that's all I have on the docket. I still don't know what's going on with Mr. Pringle. Good afternoon, Mr. Yancey. And
Good afternoon.
yes, and so we are waiting on Mr. Richardson to join us again. And then and we're waiting on Mr. Pringle to have the reception. Mr. Pringle, can you hear us?
Looks like Mr. Pringle's back.
Can you hear us, Mr. Pringle?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon to you. Not in a good place. He's not having good reception. Who has Mr. Pringle's case?
I do, Your Honor.
All right. He needs to get in a good space because the fact that he's on my docket today means I need to see him. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So he's got to get to a space or he's gonna have to come in. Mr. Pringle,
Yes, ma'am.
are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. I need you to make sure you're where you can hear at all times. Uh-oh, I think we lost him. Mr. Pringle? Ms. Rob? You may have to schedule Mr. Pringle to come into the office, to come into the courthouse.
When would you like?
I need to see Mr. Pringle. He's got some issues going on, and
Oh,
When would you like for him to come in, Your Honor?
he can come Thursday. Did we lose him?
I believe.
Okay. See if you can get them together, Ms. Robs.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I don't talk to names, so somebody who just came on, you're chatting, you need to turn on your camera and address the court. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Hello.
Good afternoon, ma'am. You have a case scheduled for today?
Yes, but I'm not sure how to work this. Was looking at my ticket, trying to get in the right courthouse, but it keep bringing me to this one.
All right, so this is what I'm gonna have you do. I'm gonna have you call my court clerk and give her your name so she can get you to the right place, okay? Do you have a pen?
Yes, 1 second, please.
Okay.
One second. I just had one.
And as a matter of fact, Ms. Lucas,
Yes.
the court reporter, thank you, Ms. Wilson, just put the courtroom number in the chat. Can you see the chat?
I can see the chat that we're on, but not the courtroom.
Well,
Number.
it's to everyone. She just sent a message to everyone.
Okay.
Do you see it?
Yes.
All right, that's the court number.
Okay, thank you.
Very welcome. We'll make sure we get you in the right direction, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right. I see Mr. Pringle again. Mr. Pringle. Where's Mr. Pringle?
Mr. Pringle, can you hear us?
Or he's not. Is he connected? He's connected.
Oh, man.
Mr. Pringle,
Yeah.
you can hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Pringle, I need you to be where you can hear really good. And I need to be able to hear you because you've got some issues today, okay? I would act like I couldn't hear either. Did she say issues?
Bad connection.
Bad connection, Judge. Sorry. Yeah, we'll have to get him to come in on Thursday.
I don't know. I guess it's
Let me mute him before he says something. He cuss or something. I'll call me again. Great. We are patiently waiting. So for those of you, I'm gonna do my public service announcement. For those of you who have had the vaccine, it is so important. Thank you for taking the vaccine for me. I took it for you as well. It is so important to carry your card with you that they give you. I got carded today for the first time where they wanted to see proof that I have received the vaccine. And so I thought the lady thought I was going to be offended because someone else was offended, I guess, prior to my arrival. And I was not offended because when you're going to work in close contact with people, especially in a medical setting, I think it's important to know who's received the vaccine. So do carry your card. I was so happy to flick mine out and show her my dates. Yes, yes. There you go, Mr. Griffin. Carry it in your wallet. I had it in my wallet by accident, actually. And so have it because people are going to get that technical. So if you plan to visit my home anytime soon,
FYI,
you have your card.
Staples are laminating them free. Just for FYI. They're laminating all cards for free, so you can have it, so it won't mess up or anything. So Staples is offering that service.
Oh, I will definitely. I'm so excited. I'm going, and I'm telling you, sent me. You better be free, Mr. Griffin.
Yeah, it's free. It's free.
Yeah, wonderful. I just thought that was different. All right. Let's see, Mr. Pringle, Mr. Pringle, Mr. Pringle.
my brother saw Wi-Fi. I don't know why I keep going in and out.
You're going in and out, Mr. Pringle. I can't understand what you're saying.
I'm saying I'm over my brother. I was having him do some work, and he has Wi-Fi, and he just keep going in and out. I thought it was better.
You got some issues today with the court, so you're gonna have to come down to the court. I'll give you until Thursday to get here, but you've got some issues, sir, and I need to be able to talk to you.
I just text you, Judge.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did they change our status, Ms. Drew?
Mm-hmm.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, I haven't seen that email yet. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
I need Mr. Pringle to go and where he can have some reception. Because while the court has changed its status with respect to public entry, the jail hasn't. So I need Mr. Pringle to get where he can get some good reception. Right, does anybody know what's going on? Mr. Fikens, do you want to go into the breakout room and see if Mr. Reed needs rescuing?
Oh, yes, I'll be happy to do that.
All right, I'm gonna send you to breakout room number 2. There you go.
Shit really good for
Let me do it. right. Well, Ms. Weisler, I'm glad you're with us today. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes.
I see them both.
Well, Miss Robbs, this is what I'm gonna do. I still want you, I need one of the attorneys to come back though. I'm still gonna have you update the court and make the record as to Mr. Pringle. And then we'll go from there as to what I'm going to have him do, because he's not in compliance, is my understanding. He's not in compliance with this court's orders, and that's not going to work for me. And it's not going to work for him either.
Yes, Your Honor. I was able to staff to meet on a Zoom call with Mr. Kashiri and Mr. Scott on today, and recommendations, Your Honor.
Mr. Pringle?
Yes, in regards to Mr. Pringle, in reference to Mr. Pringle and his current status as far as his non-compliance, Your Honor. Recommendations for, because of Mr. Pringle's current issues with his living situations and him not testing, one of the recommendations, Your Honor, that was given to me from Mr. Scott was Emmanuel House. We've talked with Mr. Pringle about going to Emmanuel House, and he did indicate, Your Honor, that that would be something that he was interested in. In addition to while being at Emmanuel House, he would have the opportunity to work for the CWT program, in which Mr. Kashiri sent a housing,
CWT,
which is the work program.
Okay.
At the Veteran Affairs. And so one of the things.
Go ahead, Ms. Rob.
So that was one of the things, Your Honor, that we did discuss in terms of Mr. Pringles, because it will provide some stability. He did mention, Your Honor, that he has some issues. He did make mention, Your Honor, that he has some issues with housing at this time, and his status is currently homeless. In the process of him missing a test, Your Honor, the screeners that we discussed yesterday, he did mention that he was caught driving. He did have some police contact and received a ticket for no registration. He is, Your Honor, at this time, you know, he did, Your Honor, make mention that he does need the help. He is willing to seek treatment, and that, and is hoping, Your Honor, to go and receive treatment from Emmanuel House. Mr. Kashiri did indicate that he could get him into treatment on today if he was allowed by the courts.
All right, very good. And so it sounds like, and Mr. Scott, I'll have to weigh in as well. I hope that Mr. Pringle can hear me. I'm concerned about his instability as well as his housing, you know, that deals with his housing and his inability to test. And then I'm glad to hear that he's admitting that he needs the help. And so, Mr. Scott, what else did you want to add to that? Because I want to get him into treatment today. If he's saying he needs help, then I believe people when they say they need help.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. And yeah, Ms. Robbs has alluded to the bulk of what I had forwarded to her with just my conversations with Mr. Pringle. And when I spoke with him today, I just reaffirmed that having navigated this process, that the first step is always the most difficult for individuals going into treatment. We'll fight it tooth and nail, even though we know it's probably the best thing for us. So I truly believe that Mr. Pringle gets to a place where it's stable and he can get into a routine and see himself making some progress. Those outliers that continuously are causing him distraction, for lack of better words, and that he's putting his energy into those things, things he cannot control, opposed to things he can control. And then he can start seeing these proximal goals take place, being stable, making his drops, things of that nature, making appointments. So I think we can just build on that. And as you've already alluded to, Your Honor, the fact that he is willing to acquiesce with this recommendation from the court. Mr. Kashiri has submitted a console for the CWT program, the Compensated Work Therapy Program, which is a phenomenal program for veterans. So that'll give him back a sense of some self-reliance, self-value, going to work every day and getting a paycheck, and not have to worry about just other things. But the housing is the key piece. So I'm very glad that Mr. Pringle is on board with that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Scott. And so, Ms. Robs, can we get Mr. Pringle in? Can you reach out to Mr. Kashiri? It's 1:39. Can we check the seat? Let's get Mr. Pringle processed today, no later than tomorrow, so that we can get him some stable housing and get him on track so that he can start his recovery process.
To my understanding, Mr. Scott actually reached out to them, Your Honor, and they would have him by 5 p.m. today.
Oh, is that? I thought you said Mr. Kashiri. My
yeah,
apologies.
Mr. Kashiri as well, and then Mr. Scott did as well.
All right. So, Mr. Scott, since we're having some issues with connecting with Mr. Pringle, can you help us with connecting with him today to tell him where he needs to go by 5 o'clock p.m.?
Yes, I can reach out to him and give him a call and let him know that he needs to be there. They prefer he be there by 5. I spoke with the director, Pastor Tim Thompson, so we have a good report. So he's expecting him. I gave him his name and everything. So he's expecting Mr. Pringle today.
That would be wonderful. And then if we could just get a confirmation for Ms. Robb so that she knows that he made it. And then, because that'll change his testing schedule, depending on, what they do at Emmanuel House. If he's not going to be able to be free to roam and all of those things, he won't need to do independent testing outside of the facility for the first 30 to 60 days, Ms. Robbs, or something to that effect.
I believe it's 60 days, Your Honor. He'll be at the Emmanuel House, and they'll be able to provide testing while he's there at the facility.
All right, very good, very good. All right, and so I appreciate you, Mr. Scott. Just reach out. We want to just confirm that he's there. If you could circle back to him, and just so that the record is clear, understand that sending him to Emmanuel House is certainly not a sanction. It is to help him in order to get him on track. And I am so glad if he can hear me, if Mr. Pringle can hear me, I am so excited about the fact that he recognizes that he needs the help and he's willing to get that help. So I'm very excited about that. So Mr. Fikens, I know that you are joining us. We just discussed Mr. Pringle. He's had some connectivity issues, but Mr. Pringle has expressed that he is willing to go to Emmanuel House because he knows that he's homeless and he doesn't have the stabilities. That's why he's not able to test and things of that nature. Mr. Scott, Mr. Kashiri have already confirmed that Emmanuel House is willing and ready to receive him today before 5 o'clock p.m. Because Mr. Pringle is having some connectivity issues, Mr. Scott is going to reach out and make sure he knows that that's where he's supposed to go and he's expected to go there on today. And I wanted to just reiterate, Mr. Fikens, Mr. Reed, that this is in no way a sanction. Mr. Pringle realizes that he needs the help and he wants the help. And so we're helping him. And I will see Mr. Pringle back next week. I'd like to see him back next week on Tuesday, as long as he goes to Emmanuel House today. I'll see him back next week. And Ms. Robbs, you can arrange for that to happen through Emmanuel House. And it's more or less me wanting to put my eyes on and make sure he's good and in good shape.
Thank you, Your Honor. And on behalf of Mr. Pringle, first of all, we want to thank Mr. Scott for his continued help all the time in this program. And I want to confirm, in case Mr. Pringle can hear me, that this is not a sanction. I'm glad that he's willing to do that. That's the first step in taking responsibility, as this court knows, and so we appreciate the help that's been given, Judge.
All right, wonderful. Mr. Reed, was there anything you wanted to add?
No, Judge, I didn't hear the conversation with Mr. Pringle, but I would second Mr. Vikings' remarks. Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Wonderful. And it wasn't a conversation with Mr. Pringle. He's having some connectivity issues. So it was just Rob just updating him. All right, but Mr. Scott's going to circle back to him. And again, Mr. Scott, I just want to reiterate, thank you so much for everything that you do to help us with people in this program. We appreciate you. And so I want to make sure I have the return to court date. It would be April. Is it Tuesday? It should be on a Tuesday. April, what would that date be?
April 13th, Your Honor.
All right, April 13th, 2021, and we'll do 8:30 a.m. If nothing else, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it.
All right, very good. All right, are we ready on Mr. Richardson?
Yes, Judge.
All right, Mr. Richardson, are you ready? Can you hear me? Uh-oh, I'm going to ask you to unmute for me.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. All
Thank
right.
you, ma'am.
Very good. We're back on the record in the matter of Desi Richardson. Case numbers SP 106-06801 and case number 200-572-3501. Mr. Richardson, state your name again for me, please.
Desi Richardson.
All right, Mr. Richardson, you've had an opportunity to meet with the attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Reed, what do you want to tell me?
Thank you, Judge. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to Mr. Richardson in the breakout room. As usual, he was respectful, courteous, and polite, and I think we had a good conversation. He had some concerns about the veterans contract. We went over the contract, his concerns. I believe now that he will be signing the contract. In talking about it, the contract, I explained to him that we use the term contract. It's a court order. If he were on a regular probation, he would get a court order, which he would be asked to sign after going over the court order. We went over the contract, the court order. He intends to sign that. He understands that it's an informational document. It's good because he knows what his requirements are while he is participating in Veterans Treatment Court. He understands that it is in order. If he has any questions, he will be asking those questions. I don't think he has any questions now, but he informs me that he will be signing the Veterans Treatment Court contract or order. We also talked about some of the questions he had regarding his treatment and the request for a release so that we could get information from his therapist. He indicated he would be signing any releases that are necessary so that we can get information concerning his treatment. Judge, it was a good conversation. I think Mr. Richardson understands what we're asking of him in participating in Veterans Treatment Court. He's a nice guy. I advised him to try to keep a good attitude in dealing with people. Life is too short to go around being angry and mad and disagreeable. Not that I'm saying that that's the way Mr. Richardson is. And I'll emphasize again, he's been a good guy with me, respectful, but sometimes we can become upset with the process. Mr. Richardson understands that. I think he's going to work the program in the future. I've advised him that he can always come into the courtroom, Zoom into the courtroom. He can talk to the court. He can talk to the attorneys if he has questions that are unanswered. I'm satisfied that Mr. Richardson is going to work the program with a good, positive attitude. I thanked him for his military service. I reminded him that when he was in the military, he had to follow orders. Not that this is like the military, but there are still orders that he has to follow. And Judge, I think he's going to work out. Thank you for the opportunity again to talk to Mr. Richardson. And I can't emphasize, he's a nice guy. Thank you for your service, Mr. Richardson.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Before I hear from Mr. Richardson, I've had Ms. Weisler, who's been with us. And so I wanted to just get an update with respect to Mr. Richardson so that I don't keep you any longer than I have to. And so Ms. Weisler.
Hi, thank you, Your Honor. So I am the interim therapist at Volunteers of America. And so Mr. Richardson has been, every day in my office. He's been attending. We found a good Zoom NA meeting for him to be attending. And then I guess we just had clarification questions on any individual or group therapy that he's needing to do. I read the handbook, but we weren't sure because he completed 10 sessions of, I believe it was the SUD at the VA. He did like the substance abuse outpatient therapy already, but we weren't sure what his requirements were because we'll be referring him to the VA for more outpatient therapy if that's required of him. But we knew that he had to get 100 NA meetings, if that was my correct understanding, but I just didn't know what the clarification of his requirements are.
So we depend on the clinicians to do a clinical assessment to tell us what Mr. Richardson needs.
Okay.
We should not be in the business and will not be in the business of determining what treatment is necessary or required. So based on your assessment, I'm looking forward to hearing what are your recommendations, or what are you saying Mr. Richardson needs? And then of course, that's what I'm expecting of Mr. Richardson, and it becomes a part of my order. That if you think he needs to have additional treatment through the Veterans Administration, if you say he needs to have additional group therapy, or whatever that treatment looks like, I'm really relying on you as the professional to do the assessment and inform the court of what your recommendation is.
Okay, so based on even, what I've had some limited interaction. I've been there for about a month interacting with Mr. Richardson. I think the NA meetings are, very necessary, and that I think he gets a lot from those NA meetings. In regards to individual or group, I know group is very limited due to COVID, and there isn't really any resources right now for that. But in regards to individual, I would have to follow up with the court based on looking over his treatment plan with my supervisor of what we would think moving forward as part of his order. But in regards to his NA attendance, it's been good. And I think to continue doing like the 1 to 2 meetings per week is necessary. But I think the need right now is I'm as his therapist right now, not to burden him with too much needing to attend multiple individual, group, and NA, because I think right now his number one goal is housing. And I think that needs to be a big goal to focus on and pay most attention to, are his kind of basic needs of housing right now.
Okay, and so what I'm asking you to do, Ms. Weisler, is to do your clinical assessment of Mr. Richardson's needs and to memorialize that so that we have that information and it becomes a part of my order. And
okay.
So, and then if you could just update Ms. Robs, usually we ask for an update every 30 days. If something needs to change, if he needs to be doing more of something, less of something, it's to make sure that the court has him on track to achieve his goals, right? His treatment goals. And so but we leave those goals up to you as to how to achieve them, okay?
Right. I think for current next steps, we were thinking that he could attend the VA because they do an assessment at the VA because we are in a period of transition at Volunteers of America, that I believe he should be assessed at the VA for them to kind of give a recommendation. But I'll connect with Ms. Robs to clear that up because I think we're just in a period of, we just kind of got a treatment plan together. So I just want to make sure to give, accurate and clear recommendations, and I can follow up with Ms. Robs on that as well.
Wonderful. I appreciate that. Just in your dealings with Mr. Richardson, is there anything you need from the court to help Mr. Richardson to stay on track with his treatment plan?
He's been very compliant and has been in attendance and has done everything I've asked of him, including his community service and getting those documents signed. So I don't have any requests from the court in regards to that, Your Honor.
All right, wonderful. Did anyone on the team have any questions for Ms. Weisler?
No, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Rob?
Your Honor, if I may, I was able to speak with Mr. Kashiri on today. I have clarification that Mr. Richardson did complete substance abuse group February 9th, 2021.
Okay.
I did speak with Mr. Kashiri on today. I wish he was here to further provide a clinical aspect. He did make mention that he would make record. He doesn't feel that he doesn't believe that it is clinically needed for Mr. Richardson to do any additional therapy. But he did make mention that he did make a referral for mental health to the mental health team at the VA, and that if Mr. Richardson wanted to, he could schedule an appointment to work towards his mental health, but he didn't find it clinically necessary. This is per his report. I did receive additional information from Mr. Kashiri in regards to Mr. Richardson and the sessions that he had completed. I also received information from Volunteers of America on his completion of 32 meetings, AA meetings. And we did find clarification on his financial standings and where this information was in his payee, which is his sister, he receives a non-service connected pension. I know that was some information that you had wanted, Your Honor, based on staffing the other day. I have been in contact with Ms. Weisler in reference to Mr. Richardson. I did provide some documentation in terms of what his contract had indicated. And I did ask Ms. Weisler to join the Zoom, Your Honor, on today so she can get further clarification. I know that she indicated she won't be his permanent therapist, but she will be stepping in temporarily until another therapist is appointed to him. So I just wanted to make sure that I put that on the record, Your Honor.
And so Ms. Robs, I'll have you get a clinical assessment from Mr. Kashiri as well as Ms. Weisler. I don't know if they work together for that assessment. I'm not certain. But once you get that clinical assessment, then it'll be incorporated as a part of my order as to what Mr. Richardson needs to do. And then we'll go from there, because that assessment, we should get progress reports every 30 days as to how Mr. Richardson is doing. And so we'll go from there.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate the clarification.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. All right. I want to hear from Mr. Richardson. Mr. Richardson, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What do you want to tell me today?
I just heard Miss Rob say that the therapist, she won't be with me, or what, they gonna turn me on to another therapist and I have to start over, or how does that work, Your Honor?
Oh, that's a good question for Ms. Weisler. Ms. Weisler, I think he has a good question. How will that work?
Yep, Miss. I'll be meeting with Mr. Richardson later this week or early next week. Currently, I'm not in the office today, but basically what will be happening is I connected with a representative of the VA from their mental health department. And so I need to connect with Mr. Richardson on what they do at the VA is they do a mental health assessment, and their team there, because I can give a recommendation to that team, you know, based on our time that me and Mr. Richardson have spent together. But the VA, they even have, you know, different services there to help him get like assessed of what they think their team thinks he needs. But in the end of the day, I believe from my assessment that he would just need to continue his NA meetings. That was the number one thing from our time together that I've assessed. But kind of like I had stated earlier, I will be helping with the transition for Mr. Richardson. We just haven't had that direct conversation yet, but it will be a transition I will help with.
Okay, so he's not in essence starting over. I think that's his concern. He's not starting over. He's going to continue his care based on your assessment.
Right. And I think the confusion was happening was from court ordered therapy that I've worked with before. Sometimes they're like, you need to have 20 individual sessions and da 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 da. But from my session with you today, Your Honor, my understanding is it's based on the therapist recommendation. So that does clear a lot for me, and as well as my supervisor, so that we can make a more detailed plan. Because I think we were kind of waiting to say, if we have to do it a certain way, we can do that, but we didn't know what that was.
No.
So now that there's clarification, I can move forward more clearly.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Does that answer your question, Mr. Richardson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Wonderful. What else you have for me today?
That's all, Your Honor. And I'd just like to apologize to you and the court if there was any misunderstanding of any kind. I just wanted to clarify that because I don't want you to be disagreeable with me, because I want to follow directions, and that's what I'm good at, following direction. I'm a soldier, and that's what I do. And I want to apologize if there was any type of disagreement or misunderstanding with anyone on the team. And if anybody felt it was, I want to apologize to them.
Well, that's kind of you. That's kind of you, Mr. Richardson. Thank you. Let me tell you what I'm more upset about today. I'm more upset about the fact I got in staffing and I bragged about Mr. Richardson comes to court in his Sunday go to meeting clothes, and today you all casual. Now, what's that about today, Mr. Richardson?
Oh, ma'am, I have to go. They called me in at the last minute and say I have to come in and do some more volunteer work.
Oh, it's not about me, right? It's not.
No, ma'am, out of suit and tie for you. You know that.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what is he doing? I just bragged on him. Look, Mr. Richardson, let me tell you something. Working in specialty court, all of us, we all have good days. We all have not so good days, right? We all have bad days. One thing that I will tell you, and I think I speak on behalf of everybody that's connected to specialty court, at least from the 36th district court perspective, is that we don't hold that stuff against people. I don't have a poker face, so I have to tell you about it.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
We get up, we dust ourselves off, and we keep moving, because at the end of the day, we have one mission and one mission only, and that's to make sure that every single person that comes before us that's entrusted to our care, that they get what they need in order to live a life of recovery. And so you had that commitment from the day you came here, you still have it. And so I'm glad we were able to work through some things, and you all right with me, okay?
Yeah. Well, you know what, Your Honor? I have to tell you, the only thing regardless to what I'm supposed to get or not get, I tell you, I just want to see that smile on your face.
I'm smiling, Mr. Richardson. I'm smiling. Look, and while you're smiling, I need everybody in the courtroom to join me in thanking Mr. Richardson for his service to this country, putting on the uniform. That means he served all of us when he served in the armed forces. Thank you, Mr. Richardson. I'm going to always, yes, sir, and in Vietnam. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I see it. I see it. I have the utmost respect for veterans. I'm a veteran as well, but I have the utmost respect for people that will put on the uniform, for some people that don't deserve it and don't appreciate it. So we appreciate it, okay?
Thank
All
you,
right, very good. Miss Robs, what's the return to court date for Mr. Richardson?
April 20th, Your Honor, 2021.
April 20th at 8:30. Wonderful. Ms. Hall, we had a lot to say today, and I know we didn't hear from you. Was there anything you wanted to add? Ms. Hall said there's a lot going on today.
That's all I got to say. No, I don't have anything.
All right. He's doing well, though, right?
I got my ink pen here. We getting ready to sign these forms. I'm gonna make sure I email them back to Ms. Robbins by the close of business day today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Hall. I appreciate you. Thank you all for all you do for our veterans. All right. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Take care.
And thank
Ms.
you,
White.
team.
All right.
All right. Everybody have a blessed day.
You do the same. I do see there's one more person in the courtroom. I'm not certain whose case that's for, or if you're in the right place. Can you tell me your name?
Crystal Lane.
Oh, Miss Lane?
Yes.
Now, where have you been? Miss Rob's been trying to get in touch with you.
I didn't know my court date was today. And I was asleep at work.
How did you not know your court date was today? I give you your court date before you leave court every single time.
I went to work last night, went to sleep, and I woke up late. And I didn't know.
Oh, Miss Lane, I'm so glad you joined us because I was gonna put a warrant out for your arrest, ma'am.
I'm so glad I joined you too.
I am. I'm concerned about you. What's going on with Miss Lane? Let me put a case number on the record. Z8060021. State your full name for the record again.
Crystal Lane.
All right. Miss Robs, what's going on with Miss Lane?
Your Honor, we staffed Miss Lane's case on yesterday, and I was having some concerns. You know, Miss Lane had provided some documentation. She had some health issues. As I reported yesterday, Your Honor. She did provide some documentation. She has some nerve issues within her back, and it prevented her from attending her therapy. So, we were talking about
therapy for purposes of specialty court.
Yes, Your Honor, for outpatient. So I was hoping that by that time she would have had some stability upon her next court date. And as well as she had reported some issues with her housing, and she just sounded very upset the last time that we had talked because she was going from place to place. I know that the person whom she was living with had sent her a letter, if I'm not mistaken, indicating that she had 30 days to leave. So she was moving around from place to place. And, usually, Your Honor, Miss Lane is very in tune and on track. And so when she hadn't attended her therapy appointment, I was just concerned and wanted to make sure that we brought it up before the court so that she.
I'm sorry. Give me 1 second, Miss Robs. I'm sorry. Okay. 1 second.
Yes, Your Honor.
I guess the last thing we probably need to talk about, Jesse and Fikens, is that lady, the old drug court case.
We can do that
before Thursday, because we ain't gonna get an opportunity to talk about it on the the record or whatever.
Oh,
just recommendations of what y'all think.
You bet.
Like I said, she is on probation in Macomb County. She seems to be doing okay, but I see what the judge want to do.
Right. Yeah, we'll talk about it when we get offline.
Okay.
All right. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Ms. Robs.
So that was it, Your Honor. Just wanted to make sure that she just gets back on track as far as with her therapy, and with just her overall progress within the course. But she's doing. Outside of that, Your Honor, she's doing well. She does need to, but with the exception of just getting her community service stuff together, and it's not allowing outside things to interfere with her progression in drug treatment court.
All right. So she's not in violation at this point, right?
No, Your Honor, she's not.
Okay, that's really good. All right. And so, Ms. Lane,
yes,
what are we doing to address her housing situation, or have we given her some recommendations? What's going on with that, Ms. Robs?
Well, Your Honor, she is currently, her and her fiance are currently looking for housing. They are staying with, is it your brother? Miss
My
Lane?
fiance's brother.
Okay, they are staying with him, but that's not a consistent. I know that they are definitely still looking, but her work schedule, and that has been interfering kind of with her being able to find consistent, stable housing. So,
Okay.
but she is definitely looking for housing at this time, Your Honor. I think she does have a couple leads. Am I correct, Miss Lane?
Yes.
All right. And so, thank you, Miss Ross. Miss Lane, you still working?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You still going to your testing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you just hit a difficult time in your journey, right?
Yes.
How are you dealing with it? What are you doing to deal with it?
I'm trying to. So once I get in a household where I'm stable, I'll be right back on track. So I'm trying to push that. I have the money for it and everything. I'm just gotta find a residence.
Okay.
And with everything going on with I guess like people not being put out their homes or whatever, and a lot of people are just holding up housing. And then there's some that there's so much scamming going on out here that I done ran into a couple of times trying to get a house. And it's just been hard.
Yeah, you have to be very careful, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes. All right. Have you been going to your therapy sessions?
I actually have to switch therapists because of the dates that I had with my therapy. I missed the date and he wanted me to switch from with them.
Okay.
I did a no call, no show, basically.
Okay. Miss Lane, you haven't been using any substances, have you?
No.
All right, very good. I was concerned about you, and Ms. Ross was concerned too, because we know that in order for people to stay on track with their sobriety goals, that stability in their living situation is critical, right?
Yes.
And also we want to make sure that they maintain their health. I heard Miss Rob say that you had some health challenges. I hope that you're doing everything that the doctor tells you to do, right?
Yes.
All right, very good. And you have told your doctor that you are in a treatment program so that they can make sure they're not prescribing you anything that's going to set you back?
Well, I don't take certain things anyway.
Oh, good
So
for you.
I'm not really like a person who with pills or nothing like that. I don't take certain things.
Okay, good. You sound like me, Miss Lane. Certain things, I need to go to medical school. That's what my doctor says, because I come in saying what I'm not doing. You're right. Because we get to do that. Absolutely, we get to do that.
Because they get paid to give you all these drugs, and some of them is just not necessary. They get paid to give them to you. And when you
Don't get me started, Miss Lane. Don't get me started. All right. So look, I realize you've hit a little medical challenge. You've got some, housing issues. I want to encourage you to stay the course.
Yes, ma'am.
You got to continue to work on maintaining your sobriety and getting on a path of recovery. Because one thing that we do know, and somebody said it, I think yesterday in court, that when you have issues, life is going to happen. And when you drink or you take substances, you only make things worse. When you don't do the things you need to do to work on your sobriety, you only make things worse. And so I want to encourage you to stay on track. It's going to get better, okay?
Thank you.
All right. What do you need from us, Miss Lane, if anything?
Nothing as of right now. If
Nothing?
you have any leads on housing, but other than that, nothing as of right now.
Miss Robs, the only thing that I can say is to connect her to Mr. Bowser with Detroit Health and Human Services. I think that would be a great connection because, they give us some, I shouldn't say preferential treatment, but they do give us some attention, some directed attention, immediate attention when it comes to specialty court. So if you could connect her with Mr. Bowser, that would be great.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Mr. Reed, Mr. Fikens, anything you'd like to add?
Yes, Judge. Thank you. Miss Lane, congratulations. Good report. You're working the program. Keep up the good work. We know it's not easy, but you're doing what we asked you to do. We're proud of you. Be proud of yourself. And be safe, Miss Lane. Be safe. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Miss Lane.
Thank you. You too.
If I might add, Your Honor, Miss Lane, you're showing great strength in fighting through these issues that you have. You are to be congratulated for that, because as the judge said, the issues are going to come up all the time, and it's great to see how I know you're struggling with them, but it's great to see how you're overcoming them. So you should be proud of yourself, because we are. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
All right. Miss Robs, if nothing else for Miss Lane, when do you have Miss Lane come back? Now, Miss Lane, you better get this court date right and answer
Okay.
that phone for Miss Robs. Don't have her concerned about you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Your Honor, I have April 27th.
April
2000
27th.
Yes, Your Honor, 2021 at 8:38. Would you prefer me to do a face-to-face, Your Honor, or
What phase? Lane?
she's in phase?
Background noise, y'all. Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
She is phase 2, Your Honor. So it will be a face-to-face.
All right. Unless you determine that something else is needed, Miss Robs, let's put her down for a face-to-face. You can always change it.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And you said April
27th, Your Honor.
All right. Wonderful. All right. You got that, Miss Lane?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If you need us before, then dial into this courtroom Monday through Friday. On Wednesdays, we start at 9:30. Every other day, we start at 8:30. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good to see you. All right.